Well, Matt, spoke after the game at Doncaster on Saturday in the immediate aftermath. Had a few days to reflect and a full week's training. First, looking back at that game, what's your view on it? And was it a surprise that after the Walsall game, when we'd done so well, that we had suffered a defeat like that last Saturday?
Yeah, it was disappointing, of course, because the positives of Walsall and a clean sheet against Crawley in the midweek led us into the game. And when you watch the game back, a really good start from us. Good 10, 12 minutes of good sustained pressure and a couple of chances and moments and some good bits of play, and really pleased with how we started the game. Looked like we sort of continued from where we left off at Walsall, and then unfortunately the penalty changes the flow of the game a bit, and the first goal, as a lot of people say, is key, and it certainly is. And suddenly we find ourselves 1-0 down, but a good chance with Harry Smith, and work our way back into the game, and a very even first half, and not a lot in the game, to then start the first 5 minutes again, come out of half time and be quite on the front foot, and a couple of set pieces and good bits of play, to then sort of go down the other end and suddenly find ourselves 2-0 down was really frustrating. And then the goals we conceded in the second half are very disappointing, and just a mere consolation with Harry Smith's goal at the end. So yeah, certainly glimpses of Walsall and what we wanted to see and what we need to see, but unfortunately not for the whole game, and we come off the back of a disappointing result.
There's been a sort of theme over some of the away games recently that we've let in one and then let in a couple quite quickly. Do you think that's a consequence of us being down at the bottom of the table, and sort of a confidence thing, that if one goes in, the heads not necessarily drop, but has that effect on us?
Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily drops, because we come back and we score goals in games once we have gone behind and kept going, and you can't ever question the lads' attitude. But yeah, it's certainly something we need to address and look at, and pinpoint and try and pinpoint why away from home that's been happening. But one thing I've been pleased with, to touch on your second part of your first question, is just the week's training that we've had. It's, we're mid-October now, and it feels like it's just been a relentless start to the season in terms of the amount of games that we've had, and not many full weeks of training leading into games at all, because obviously with our League Cup run as well, that's really added Tuesday night games into our schedule. So for this week to come off the back of 9 games in 4 weeks, to allow us to have a Tuesday without a game and then a full week's training, has been a really good week for us so far. I feel I need a lot more of them, to really, because that's where you get your work done. You can show videos and do those type of sessions, but the real work is out on the training pitch, and that's what I really feel we need time and days and sessions to do. So that's been really good for us to start that this week.
And I guess we might not know till Saturday, but have you been getting the message over, and do you think it's been taken on board, and do you feel positive about the reaction to last Saturday's game?
Yeah, I always see the reaction from the lads in training, their intensity and their work ethic and their mindset to go into training. Albeit sometimes it's just recovering and light sessions ready for the next game. But certainly this week they've worked really hard, and yeah, hopefully we can start to see, all right, only the little bits of work we've done this week, but so hopefully that starts to really come into our game over the coming weeks.
It's back at home on Saturday. So 2 weeks after the Walsall game, Morecambe, the visitors, possibly their league position, I was going to say false, but they played 2 fewer games than everybody else, so mid-table at the moment. I always ask you this, but what sort of game do you think we can expect from against them?
Well, they've obviously come down from League One, and experienced manager, has got promotion out of this league, knows what it takes to go and get results, and 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats is a very steady and good start from coming back down from League One. So they've got good players. They freshened their squad up a bit. They've certainly got threats, and like we all know, it's another tough game for us. But we are really much focusing on ourselves and constantly looking to improve us as a team as well. And keep working on those positives that have been in games and eradicating the mistakes and bad bits of play that have led to disappointing either goals or results. So we're working extremely hard on that, and that's the real focus in making sure that we can get ourselves right. Then I feel we can be a match for anyone.
And looking at a couple of weeks ago against Walsall, we had the boost of getting a goal in the first 5 minutes in front of our own supporters. That's really important again on Saturday to try and make a good start and capitalise on that. Whereas at Doncaster we made a good start and then it was still 0-0 when they scored. But if we can get a good start on Saturday, get the supporters going again.
And then they were supportive from minute one for us at Walsall, at home to Walsall. They were clapping the lads off from the warm up, and they were right behind us from the first whistle. So we just want that the same again. That back at home, really making it tough for Morecambe, and the crowd right behind us, as I know they will be, and really starting on that front foot, and hopefully getting that first goal that sets the game up for us.
And it's at times like this that's so important, isn't it? It's easy when you're sort of doing well and up towards the top of the league, and everybody expects it to happen. But at this stage, the current position we're in, it's equally important that the backing is positive and it sort of makes it a difficult environment for the visitors.
And I've said to you before, it's all too well. We've had loads of good times in recent years that everyone's upbeat and buzzing, and you can't wait to get back at home. And there's a real feel-good factor. But when we have gone through a bad run and a dip in form, that everyone does stick together, and that's certainly there to see from every aspect of the club. When we're back at home with our supporters and everyone behind us sticking together, then that gives us a great chance to go and get a result.
Now you've added to the squad this week, taking advantage of sort of a player who was out of contract in Dominic Gape. What's the thinking behind that signing? Must be pleased to get a player in at this stage.
Well, you can only sign players who are free agents when the window's shut, who were free agents when the window's shut at the end of August. Dominic Gabe is someone, Ali, our physio, and a couple of players that Scotty Caskett's really close to him from his time at Wycombe, knows really well, lives in the local area, and you just look at his 29, great age, brilliant experience, one promotion from League One and League Two with Wycombe, and playing the Championship with them, and has had a great career. And for one reason or another, just hasn't found himself getting a club in the summer. So to add someone with his experience and quality into that midfield compartment, where we're suddenly like with Eastie's operation happening last weekend and the amount of months that he's going to be out for, is just a good acquisition into our squad. With the numbers being a touch light with Hish's broken leg, and Scotty Casket just coming recovering from his cruciate operation. So there's injuries within the squad, and to bring someone of his experience and quality in. Obviously he hasn't trained with a team since the window's shut. He's fit. He's physically fit. He just needs a few training sessions first before we'll see him out there. So we'll build him up and get him ready to play a big part for us. And
just mentioned the injuries there. We touched on it on Saturday. We just to reiterate about Hisham Kasimu, because that was really unlucky just at the end of the game against Crawley, and an injury which turned out to be far more serious than anybody thought.
Yeah, it's just to touch on the injuries. Rosie's groin's settled right down, and he's back in light training, as is Louis John. So it's good to see them back out on the pitches. And then, as you say, Eastie's operation has gone well, and now he starts his road to recovery after a positive operation. Dion Pereira is returning from international duty after 2 games for Antigua, so we welcome him back into the squad as well. But then you've got, as you say, Scott Casket, who's back at home and recovering from his cruciate, and will start that long road to recovery. And then the disappointing news of Hish and the broken leg there, a non-weight bearing bone in his leg. So and not a massive break, could well have been a lot worse, but still a broken leg that now requires a matter of weeks of being on crutches and off before we can see him back training for us. So very disappointing and frustrating, because he really seems to start getting going for us. To see him now sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks is very unfortunate.
And then we look again forward to Saturday's game. We touched on it earlier, but desperate to get a decent atmosphere, positive from the start, and get back to something like the Walsall performance, because still plenty to play for this season, isn't there? And good, decent win on Saturday could set up ahead of what's going to be an interesting trip next Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one game at a time, and just concentrating on us improving and putting that next result on the board. And a clean sheet against Crawley, but backed up obviously off the back of the Walsall. Some pleasing stuff in spells at Doncaster, but a poor result and a disappointing overall performance. But now, let's get back to what we were at home, and Walsall and everyone behind us, and putting hopefully another result on the board, and then looking forward to the next game to try and build on that again.
And the aim will be to get the tempo, I guess, as it was against Walsall, pressing from the start and really on the front foot and make them uncomfortable from the start. Yeah,
just being what's us and what's been Sutton United and all over the years, and say it's a new squad and trying to get the work into them. There's certainly glimpses there. We just want that consistency in our performances.
Well, Matt, as always, we thank you for talking to us, and wish you well for Saturday, and we'll see you at the ground on Saturday.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Danny.